exactly. Okay, so tell us about this book then, The Heart of the Buddha. Like, what is the general storyline to this book?
Just the plot, this, in simple words, it's a love story about a Canadian librarian. Actually, she is of Chinese and Portuguese heritage. She was originally from Hong Kong, and she settled in Canada, in Toronto actually, and she went to Bhutan to be a librarian for 6 months. It's on an international, like a humanitarian project, funded by somebody, who wanted to put some money there to help. And she fell in love with a monk, with a Buddhist monk.
Are they allowed to fall in love back?
Well, I suppose there is no rule against falling in love, but whether they'll, carry it on to something further is another thing. Exactly. And that's what they were trying to come to terms with.
Aha.
Yeah.
So, where did you get that idea from?
Just off the top of my head. But this is not really a book about Buddhism, because I am not a Buddhist. Okay. And, strictly speaking, is a very human story. And it can...
Then why The Heart of the Buddha? Why the title?
Okay.
Because I'm just looking at that, I'm thinking,
yeah.
maybe I'm going to get some kind of inspiration about the heart of the Buddha, what it's like to be the Buddha or to understand that.
Well, I think in Buddhism, one of the main things is compassion. They really, talk a lot about compassion, which is like love, And in the book, it's about love on different levels. It's not just, between this librarian and the monk. And the heart of the Buddha is also the nickname of a certain plant, the seed of the Indian bean. And when I was there, I saw in Buddhist temples arrangements of Indian bean plants, like the feathers of a peacock. And each bean is like an eye of the peacock. And it's very pretty. It's like a fan arranged in a vase. Mm-hmm. And I asked my guide, and he said, well, the nickname is the heart of the Buddha because the seed is in the shape of a heart. Mm-hmm. And they call it the heart of the Buddha. So that gave me the idea. But we're just not looking at it literally, just because of that. That seed is used in the book as a token between the two lovers, as a token between the librarian and her twin sister, who went to Bhutan to look for her. And that's the mystery, because she disappeared, the librarian. And the twin sister went to look for her, and she even, she interviewed a lot of people there that had known her sister, and she found out her sister had actually crossed a mountain pass into Tibet, dangerously. Yeah. So anyway, that's the heart of the Buddha. It's a token. It also is the seed, the name of the seed. And it's, in a way, it's about love and compassion, which I think is deep in the heart of the Buddha.
Hmm. Yeah. The way you talk about the characters and the story, it's as if it's not just a made-up story. It's as if that these characters really live and that this story really happened. I'm just, as an author, I'm curious about the process. Sometimes you talk to authors and you hear that, they don't know how the book is going to turn out. And the characters develop a life of their own and almost write themselves. And is that, what's your experience of that?
Well, I started out, when I went back to do my research the second time and doing the trek and interviewing monks and different people, I had no idea where my plot is going to end up. Basically, I was thinking of a love story, and I thought it's fascinating, to have a romance between a layperson and a monk. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's something that would be very, fascinating. And I want to explore that relationship, the feelings, how they can come to terms with their own faiths and with their feelings for each other. And so it just went on, and then it became a mystery when she disappeared. And then I thought of having a twin sister go in to find her. And the twin sister also had her own relationship when she went there.
With the monk?
No, oh, no.
Because for a minute there, it was starting to sound like the Patty Duke show.
No. With a Bhutanese tour guide, actually, that she met when she was there. So the two sisters actually were very different in temperament. And, in the book, their mother said that they're as different from each other as the black and the white of a yin-yang circle, the black side and the white side.
Right.
But together, they complement each other, and perhaps the differences make them one whole, like the yin-yang circle.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, it's not just looking at the book literally as a love story and that's it, or an adventure or a mystery. It's also, you can look at it at different levels about how two very opposing characters could try to find and reach each other, both physically and spiritually, and they've come to terms with themselves and with each other, and they're meeting each other halfway. That's what the sisters did in the end. So you can look at the book, read the book in any way you want.
So we don't want to spoil it.
No.
Do you have any questions or comments, Natalie?
Do you think you're going to write another book? Like, do you just write when you have an idea for it, or you enjoy doing it, so that's why you keep on?
This is my passion.
Yeah.
It's been with me before I was a teacher, before I was a librarian. These were my two past
so you were a librarian.
I was just going to say, but
so this is an
giving myself
autobiography,
away.
Isn't it?
No, it's not.
Are you half Portuguese?
No, I'm a full-blooded Chinese, ethnically, Chinese Canadian. No,
with Portuguese background.
But the reason, I will answer that too. The Portuguese background.
Is your husband Portuguese?
No, he's also Chinese. The thing is, in Hong Kong, there are lots of Portuguese from during the British times. When Hong Kong was a British colony.
They come from Macau.
From Macau, exactly. Yeah. And so there are lots of intermarriages between Chinese and Portuguese, and so that's why I came up with this these two sisters being Portuguese Chinese. Yeah, the father was Portuguese, mother Chinese, and the librarian part. I use the librarian because I am most familiar with that, with all the jargon, library jargon. I know exactly how a library is run because I was a librarian before I
Do you know about the Dewey Decimal System?
Oh, yes.
What?
And the Library of Congress system and all that.
How come they have to have their own system? Why don't they just use the Dewey Decimal System?
Who is they?
The Library of Congress.
The Library of Congress. Well, it's just two different systems. Academic libraries mostly use Elsie. Elsie meaning Library of Congress.
Oh, okay.
Actually, there's this thing about my name, Elsie Sze. That's how it's pronounced. And people think, must be library related. LC sounds like Library of Congress.
Well, working in the library system, you probably get a lot of those jokes from other librarians.
So, anyway, but I was comfortable writing about a librarian. That's why I used her as her career.
Okay. Do you want to read from it? Is there a little passage you can read?
Oh.
Just to give us a real taste?
Okay, maybe just the first chapter is 1 page. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Because this is supposed to be a mystery, and it's also, by the way, people can regard it as a travelogue because it's really about Bhutan. And
you were really there. You weren't just in the library reading about Bhutan.
No, I was there. I actually talked to people there, and I actually stayed in a farmhouse in the mountains, to get the feel of it.
We should act it out instead of reading it.
Anyway,
act out the different characters. Why not? Okay.
Do I have time?
Yeah,
1
of
page?
course.
Okay.
Yes.